Life has a funny way of teaching you the same lesson over and over again until you get it. So in 2023, I was in a toxic and abusive relationship, and it really started to highlight how much I've come to the point where I just don't value myself enough in relationships, that I allowed it to even go on as long as it did. When I was in this toxic, abusive situation where I was being treated terribly all the time and I was writing heartbreaking songs constantly, I really wanted to set out to break this cycle. I've always been a arguably too self-aware person, but this really shined a light on the fact that, like, okay, I want to do something. I want to get out of the situation. I want to break this pattern I have. And I went to therapy about it. And I started to process a lot of things, like how the way I'd been raised and how my parents had treated me factored directly into this, and how having a parent that doesn't respect my boundaries and I'm scared of their reactions, so I let them get away with whatever, like that became a pattern in my life. I spent a lot of time in therapy trying to work through how to get out of this situation where I felt like this is all I deserved, this is all I could ever get. Why would anyone ever treat me good, right? Finally, I got to the point after like 3 months where I was like, okay, this is it. And I broke up with her. And I felt like I finally had control of my life. Finally, I had some confidence. Finally, I could do something about the way I'd been treated and actually stand up for myself. And I really thought, this is it. I finally broke the pattern. I put in all this work. I did what seemed like the scariest possible thing to do. Welcome to the rest of my life, right? I figured out my pattern. I've overcome it once. This is the turning point. It's all smooth sailing from here. None of that was really the case. I found myself, despite having this breakthrough, still being terrified of what people think of me, still being very controlled by these kind of people-pleasing, wanting to have people like me, and being so scared that, like, what if they don't? What if I lose a friend? What if I lose a companion? What if this person doesn't want to talk to me? Even though I already knew how bad it could get, I still lived out the same cycle again. And I actually had a friend where I became like best friends with this guy for like a year. And I would do basically anything he wanted. He wanted to see a movie, didn't matter what movie. I was there. I would drive him there. I would drive out of my way to go there. I would drive him to appointments that I wasn't even part of just to please this guy, because I'm like, oh, I have a best friend now. This guy seems like he likes me. I'll do anything to make sure that this stays this way. Excuse the language, but I even had a mutual friend of ours at one point come to me and be like, Bradley, why are you being this guy's bitch? Why are you just like doing whatever he wants? Don't you see this as like not cool? And I was like, no, come on. You don't know him like I know. Obviously, if you can imagine, this did not exactly turn out great. Basically what happened was I would always kind of either agree with this guy outright or placate and kind of hide the fact that, you know, any opinion he had, I was at least like going to entertain. I was never going to tell him, oh, I disagree with this. And there were some big disagreements we should have had that I just wouldn't mention. And then one time we have one disagreement over one person that he didn't like and I was friends with. He blows up, basically like talks crap about me to everyone we know, and never speaks to me again. No matter how much I try to reconcile this friendship, just gone. Another one of these like worst case scenario, should have seen this coming from a mile away, but I let this happen to me kind of situations. And, you know, after seeing this pattern enough times, not to say I'm never going to make this mistake again, but I realized that I have to face this core internal pattern I have of wanting to be liked, caring so much about what people think, and letting myself be put in this position where I'm not prioritizing myself and I'm letting other people essentially walk all over me. And a big part of that came from finally learning to actually love myself and want to put myself first. It's honestly crazy to think about the past year and a half or so, and just how long I've spent rebuilding my self-worth, or maybe even building it from scratch. And honestly, the amount of times I feel sad for past me, that I've profusely apologized to myself for how poorly I treated me. It's been an insane emotional roller coaster. It's by no means done. Fuck. Even right now, I'm like, oh, what are you saying? But I finally reached a point where I can look myself in the mirror and tell myself, I love you. And actually do things because I care about myself and want to take care of myself. And it's still really hard, don't get me wrong. I still spend a lot of times not saying the things I want to say out of fear of what people will think of me. And that is something I will probably be working on for, who knows? I'm doing my best. But at least the work I've put in and the place I've gotten to has been at the point now where I have a lot more fulfilling friendships. Because I like myself. I spend time with people who like me. And I don't worry about the people who don't like me. Shocker. It's very much still not easy. But this last year has been a huge amount of processing. And that is where my song, Just a Dog, comes from. It's all about that feeling of being walked all over, deprioritizing yourself completely in a relationship to the point that you are being treated almost like you're not a person with wants and needs and an equal footing and the ability to say yes and no to how you want to be treated and what you want to do. And it's an angry song. Obviously, I'm angry at the people who treat me that way and have treated other people that way. In a lot of ways, I think the person I was angriest at was myself for letting myself be treated that way. I'm actually getting emotional. Jeez. And this whole journey I've been on as a person is really what's been inspiring a lot of the music I've written over the past year and a half, and what my new EP, the next EP, will be all about. That Just a Dog and How to Live are both songs from. And this has been a really personal process. And I want to be able to share as much of this as I can with everyone out there to hopefully make people feel less alone, and also hopefully motivate some of you who have felt this way to embark on this kind of journey yourself. It's not easy at all, but I think the alternative is so much worse. I think of how small and lonely I used to let my life be. It's kind of, the song is a lot about other people treating you poorly, but it's also about a prison of your own creation. Eventually, you have to be the one that stops this pattern of being around these people. So I hope it can motivate others to take the first step and maybe treat yourself a little better. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening. I'm just a dog on your leash, so put your muzzle on me. I'm just a toy on your shelf, I'm something pretty to see. I'm just a puppet for you, make me do anything. And if I disagree, tighten your strings around me. 'Cause I'm just a dog, I'm just a puppet, baby. Take what you want, then take all that's left.